Carolyn, it's so nice of you to join me today. I have some questions for you though. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Fire away.
Okay, so let's listen. Here we are. You're sitting here today as we're speaking, and you're the director of training at Seven Gables Real Estate. We have a Ninja installation coming up, scheduled for November 2nd through the 5th, correct?
That's correct. It's only 5 weeks away.
You asked me a little while ago about when was the first time we ever held an installation, and actually I couldn't even believe that it was that long ago. It was November of 2014. And how that kind of worked, I'm going to share this with you because I think it's important to get to the context of our conversation. In July of 2014 was the first time I entered into the installation process. And I'm saying it that way for fun because I thought I had no idea what I was walking into. Walked into a room full of about 90 people on a Tuesday morning in Fort Collins, Colorado. It's a beautiful summer day. It was warm. I remember thinking, what am I going to do in here all day long? Wow. Well, fast forward 4 days later, came out of there with a miraculous discovery. We could actually use this training. Okay. I called Lisa and I called Julie Kozik at the time and said, you're not going to believe what we've discovered. This is the path forward for training agents in this industry. I've known Larry for about 8 years before that and had met him, but he didn't take the program outside of his own company until that time. What do you think of Ninja as director of training?
Well, first of all, can I ask you a question based
Sure.
on what you just said? So was that the very first installation that he did that was outside of their brokerage?
It was not. He'd actually
Okay.
started a year prior to that,
Okay.
and we had followed it, but I wasn't sure, like, when you go to an installation, you're committing 4 days of your life to be
Right.
there, and it's an all-day thing. And for me, that was a lot to sit there and not squirm around and not try to run out of the room and try to answer a phone call or do something for 4 straight days. Turns out it was better than I ever dreamed of it being. However, it was a challenge still.
Yeah. So you asked what I think of Ninja as a director of training.
And,
Well,
and here, let me just
I
give
was-
you the context for that
Yes.
question, okay? Because as you look around the whole industry, okay, you look at what other people offer, and I'm not talking about companies in our industry, real estate, but in training and what's out there. And from your perspective, and this is unfiltered, what do you think?
Well, first of all, because I am an agent as well, and I did my first installation in 2014 when we did our first one, I know firsthand how it changes your business. So I know firsthand how it changed my business. I know how firsthand it changed a lot of my colleagues' business. So I can attest personally,
Okay.
rather than just looking at it as it offering to our agents.
So you can personally attest to it. So how did it change your business? How did it change your life? Or is that true?
Yes.
Did it?
Okay. So you just segued into yes.
Okay.
Ninja is something that we offer as a company. That is a life program. It's not a selling program. It is a life program. It is something that you can use in every aspect of your life, personally, in things that you want to do with your life, as well as in your business. And for me personally, it was the first time that I actually knew I was doing things right, because I have been in sales my entire life since I was a young person. And I was always told that I needed to be tougher. I needed to be a shark. And this was the first time that I heard that, gosh, I should just be taking care of people, being of service, giving gifts, loving on people. And that's what I love to do. So it was hugely altering, because it was the first time I was affirmed that I was doing things right.
So I'm going to get your opinion on something. Let me
Yes.
ask you this. I'm going to put you in front of about 1,200 people at an Inman conference in New York City. So how much bigger of a stage can you get, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody raises their hand from the audience and they say, if you were just getting into real estate, what would you do? I'm going to pose that question to you now.
Yes.
What would you do? What would be like the first 2 or 3 things you would do?
Well, the first thing I would do as far as training would be to go into a Ninja installation. Absolutely, hands down. That if I had done Ninja when I first began, I would have been doing my business completely differently. So I would be much further along for sure, and I would have systems in place, and it would be habit, because all of this is habit, right? And anything that you learn, it takes time for it to become a habit. So I would definitely be much further along. So I would say that'd be the number one thing is to do a ninja installation. Of course, I have a whole list of books and podcasts for them to
Sure.
read and listen
Let
to
me
as
ask
well.
you, and the reason I asked you that question, because that actually happened to me. I was standing on the stage in Inman in New York City, and I was asked that question by somebody from the audience. And I said I would do two things. And I won't mention the second one because it's proprietary to another company in the marketing and branding business that I think are fantastic. But the first thing I said was, if it was my children or my son or my daughter, anybody like that, I would send them to Ninja. Because I started noticing from where my position was the life changes these people were experiencing, not only in productivity, but in the way they were going about their business and how much more calm they were, etc. So let me ask you now a follow-up question to that, because there's always this question that always arises in these situations. What was the unintended results of Ninja? And everybody that's listening to this needs to know, we did not rehearse this. So these are coming straight to
Yes.
you, no rehearsal,
Right.
no
I did not
preparation.
get the
So this is
questions
straight
up
from
front.
you.
The unintended result is that my relationships with my clients became so incredibly tight. I had a barrier to always be professional because that's kind of the way I am as a person. So I have boundaries. And it was a time that I had to actually be authentic and had to just open up and really be who I was with my clients. And so therefore I have so many close relationships with my clients that I absolutely never would have had because I was authentically me and cared for them deeply and wasn't afraid to do that and to be real that I am a person too and not always, professional, that I am a human as well. So I think that's the number one thing that completely changed, as a byproduct for the long term is those long-term relationships that I have.
Now I have another question for you.
Yes.
I have a couple more. So you're sitting in Ninja on your first day. Now fast forward to your last day. There's 4 days, right? Is there a favorite part for you that you remember that stood out more than anything? Besides the seller process, buyer process, and those sorts of things, is there a favorite part you had?
I love mindset. So the whole first part, all of the activities around mindset. So really, the first day was the best for me because I love anything around mindset.
Did you get your washer to turn in circles?
My
Hold
washer
it,
to turn.
hold it with a string?
Oh no!
Could you get it?
No.
Oh, you could not?
No.
Oh my gosh, mine was going crazy.
And
Like this.
I also failed miserably with the partner contest. And actually, I did it again recently with John Kelly, and we failed, and we learned a lot about each other.
That's great. Good for you. And one of the most interesting things that I found, looking back on that, is the personalities, the power, peace, or the power. I'm sorry, power, party, peace, and perfection, because it kind of defined me, and it helped other people. Like contact and communication with me became better. But more importantly, I had an issue one time, and I had two people in the company and our leadership team. And I'll share this because it is so true. And we were in a room, and they were all of the leadership team was there. And these two people had been bickering with one another for, gosh, weeks and months, it felt like. And it was starting to wear on everybody else because they could feel the tension in the room. And so what I did is I said, okay, we're going to stop. Well, first of all, what I did is I created an argument between them intentionally. Okay, the intended result was what's going to show up now. Because I took the ninja practice, okay, and I separated everybody into what was their number one personality trait. We all have two, but it's always to the left in that square room, right? So I put everybody, and they all went to their little corners. And guess what two people went to the peace corner? These two people, and they didn't know it. And when everybody looked at them and we pointed it out to them, okay, they're like an aha moment. They realized they just they just enjoyed peace. But they thought they were a different they thought the other person was a different personality. And it worked, and from that day forward, they still had their issues, but it smoothed the path forward so brilliantly well. It was amazing. So this stuff does work. TSW, right? This stuff does work. Did you have any fun stories from Ninja?
I guess I would say not necessarily fun, but I had an amazing lunch with Leslie Giacobbe. It was the first time I had ever sat down with her and really spent any
Okay.
time with her. And I was just thrilled to get to know her. And she was just so open. And we were all very open, of course. But that was probably one of the cool things is having really open conversations with my colleagues. So I don't know if I'd say fun. I'm not really much of a funny girl. I'm more of
That's
a-
okay. But the ability to sit down with an icon in
Yeah.
our industry like Leslie, and I mean the entire industry, not just
Right.
at Seven Gables where she's an icon, but the entire industry of real estate. Someone like Leslie is priceless.
Yeah.
Anyway, and Leslie has. I've watched Leslie over the years, and when things slow down for her occasionally, you know where she goes to, right?
Ninja.
Ninja 9
Mm-hmm.
and Real Estate Reviews, but mainly Ninja 9 because we know that's the savior of everything. Everything ninja, as they say, right?
Yes.
So if you were where you sit today as director of training, okay, and you were going to recommend to anybody what they would do with Ninja, what would it be?
What would they?
In other words, they take Ninja. What would they do afterwards?
Well, follow it.
Follow it.
Follow it first of all, not just take it, because you can take anything.
And let me help
but
you.
That
Would it mean a lot to have a fantastic database?
Yes. Well, that's something that you start to do in Ninja anyways,
Right.
is you really start to hone in on your database. And that is, I mean, especially for the new agents that are coming in, I don't know if people really understand how important it is and how there are people in their database. I think that until someone forces you to look at the database, I think that people are afraid to put a lot of names in there. There's a lot of people that are retained, and yes, database is absolutely essential. That's the whole crux of Ninja is it's all database. It's not going and finding business from people that don't know, like, and trust you. It's finding business from people that do know, like, and trust you. So
Here's another question for
Yes.
you. This is maybe a little bit more personal for both of us, having been through Ninja. Do you remember the first day? Your mindset was fantastic, I thought. But the first day and on the last day, you had to write a letter that you would open a year later to see if you reached your goals, to see if you had those aha moments meant anything in your future. How did that work for you?
Well, I was very optimistic on my goal. So I think
okay.
I've learned from that first time to not jump so far ahead of myself, that I need to have steps in place in order to get there. So I definitely wasn't quite at that place. However, when I reviewed my life list, that there were, out of all the things I put in there, there were 5 things that I had attained.
That's
So
awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah.
That is really
So there were
great.
many things in my life list in a period of only 5 years or so that I had
Wow.
attained. So
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
thank you.
What people think of the name ninja, and they think of somebody throwing sharp objects at people and things like that. Do you want to explain a little bit about the background? And if need be, I'm happy to jump in. But I think it coming from you as a director of training is really important.
Well, the ninja concept came from actually one of Larry Kendall's people that were part of the group, and he was very quiet about the way he did his business, and he was very diligent and methodical, but quiet. And he wasn't a flashy guy. He didn't have all the really cool bells and whistles. He didn't have the fancy CRM. He did all of his CRM on paper, and he carried it with him everywhere he went. And he had this process that he did daily, and he was very quiet about it. He wasn't always the person that you'd see involved in everything, but he was an amazing guy that achieved great things. And so the ninja concept came where I guess it was coined based upon his actions, his successes, and how as a ninja we don't have to be, we can quietly do what we need to do and make a massive impact on our lives and other people's lives.
Did you ever have an opportunity to meet Jimmy Dunlap?
I did not.
You did not? Oh, the first installation I went to in Fort Collins, I met him, and the fill in some of those points of interest there. Jimmy Dunlap was a professional cyclist.
That's right.
And never worked weekends. So, and he was really the top agent in the company, or one of the top agents. So Larry began to chronicle his moves, his mindset, what he did, how did he do that? And he did all the things you talked about, carrying his database in a very informal way, but using his database, because he spent his weekends on the road basically on his bike, right? And so nobody ever saw him. Nobody ever saw him. So he got coined, the name came from being the ninja. Nobody ever saw him. He wasn't around, but my gosh, when they look at the sales in the office of the company, he was number one or in the top percentage of people in the company. So they nicknamed him after him.
Right.
Yeah, quite a guy, very inspirational. He gave a speech at the first Ninja installation I was there at. And when I went back later on at a leadership conference there for Ninja, he's now been confined to a wheelchair because of some MS issues and things like that. But he was just as inspirational then as he was the first time around. Quite a guy. So that's a little bit about Ninja. Is there anything you want to say in the closing remarks to invite people to Ninja or anything like that that you'd recommend?
Well, I guess I can share a little bit about when I first started in the business, when of course I wasn't at Seven Gables, when I was at a competitor. I spent $1,500 my first year in the business on a stupid program that had nothing to do with the way the market was going, because this is 2007 when the market was crashing all around us. And I spent all that money and it was a huge waste. I can tell you that this is only $900, so half of that basically, but it is something that will change your life. It's not, even if the market changes, it has nothing to do with the market. It has nothing to do with technology. It has to do with your life and how implementing habits within the way you do your business, the way you do your life, that will make you a better person and a better agent. So
I think that's a
highly
great way
recommend
to
it.
sum it up. Really great way to sum it up. It's just not about sales. It's about your life and improving it all the way around. And I think there's nobody better on this planet than Larry Kendall at what he does. He's just a genius. His book, Ninja Selling, has been in the top sellers on New York's bestsellers list. And the way he explains it is just beautiful. So we look forward to having Don Tennyson out here in November.
Love
He is
Don.
the co-author of Ninja Selling. Created that with Larry, and Don's one of the true great guys in the world today, in our world of training and real estate. So, anything you want to close with? It's up to you. The floor is yours.
Well, please, all of you that haven't gone to Ninja, please do go to Ninja. And I think I've done it 3 times. So you can certainly repeat it, and we all can use a refresher. And if I weren't out of town, I would definitely be repeating it myself.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
This will be my 4th time. So, and every single time it's new, and I know they've refreshed it a little bit. And so it should be really, really good. And Don's presentation is remarkable too. So look forward to it. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it very
That was
much.
fun. Thank you.